4chan, good old hacker 4chan, a mystical place of the internet where various people, I would say usually smart, just acts fucking dumb there. And yet, they do have some absolute gems among the code that they produce, whether it's their campaigns or what I want to talk about here, one of their video games.
Now, I don't know a lot of 4chan games, but I'll list out the ones that I know personally. I think the one that comes to my mind is Yandere Simulator. Yeah, that originally came out as a proposal in a 4chan post, like a decade or plus ago, there Yandere Div basically is listing about or going on about his proposal for a Yandere Simulator akin to Hitman. And then I think one of the big responses that this will never come out in the light, or this will never see the light of day or something like that. And then that's made him make the game. And of course, we know what the hell is happening with that. A lot of controversies and stuff. There's also actual completed games like Katawa Shoujo. I think that's by a studio called 4 Clover Studio. It's a visual novel. I think it even has an ecchi, so one can say it's an ecchi visual novel, though I don't think it's that big a part of it, though it does happen. It's a pretty popular game, I think back in the day too. But the one I'm going to be going on about is Snoot Game. Oh yeah, another visual novel basically taking a piss out Goodbye Volcano High.
Released on PC while being developed by Cavemanon, who started drafting and developing the game around 2020. Consisting of various volunteers from 4chan's video game board /V. From what I can gather, this was around the time when Goodbye Volcano High was being revealed and the future of gaming, or whatever the PS5 launch game stream was being aired. Of course, it got heavily ridiculed, though there were some people that wanted to play it. However, after some delays, people just wanted to make their own Goodbye Volcano High. And thus, Snoot Game was born, planned, storyboarded, developed, with no outside funding, and to release on June 4th, 2021, way before the release of Goodbye Volcano High on August 29th, 2023. Yeah, they beat them by 2 years. So, the final major update, should we say the golden version, whatever you want to call it, was released on January 6th. 2023. Still before Goodbye Volcano High, but that's whatever. Of course, this was the final update to kink everything out, take out all the bugs, finish up all the artwork and stuff. Though there were still a fair amount of updates to basically new translations, fine-tune some other things, that kind of stuff. Of course, there are some shenanigans throughout that process. I might go into it later in the video if I remember.
Yeah, that's a lot of information to dump right off the bat before we even get to the game. I will leave some information about the previous games that Cavemanon also worked for, that being She's a Bit Sluggish, She Likes You a Lottie, and A Star in Her Eyes. Those are the games that they worked on before Snoot Game. I mean, they're short and sweet, pretty nice. I just don't know how many 4chan members or Cavemanon members from those games translated to Snoot Game. I don't know how many carried over, how many left, how many came in, new phases came in, so yeah, there's that. So, that being said, let's go to the website and download it.
Of course, after heading to the website, snootgame.xyz, and downloading the game, boot that bad boy up. Oh, hey, it's a language selector. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember seeing this when I booted this the first time, but a change happens. And here it is, the menu. The options are pretty simple. Honestly, if you're gonna be replaying this, the only ones you're gonna be messing with are the extras, loading, and the bonus chapters. Options too, and there's a lot of tweaks that you can do in the options menu. I also do like the artwork for this menu. Well, all the menu artworks, but I'll just talk about this one. It does remind me of my own desk, and it does kind of tell about the personality of our main character too. Anyways, let's get into the game. Opening up the store, we take on the role of a human high school age character named Anon Y Mouse, anonymous, or just Anon. Of course, a faceless insert, kind of like Ethan from Resident Evil 7, one can say. A pretty lonely, outcast type of character. and he is also a transfer student from Rock Bottom, transferring to Volcano High and Volcadera Bluffs. Not to mention the fact that this school is mainly populated by anthro-dinos, and so far, he is the only human student on campus. This poor Chud's life. Now at this point, we don't know why Anon transferred schools, but we will learn this near the climax of the story. Now for the first few in-game days, Anon of course is going to get acclimatized to his new environment. Now we also get to see the majority of the supporting cast in the first 2 days. I mean, when you first go to school on your first day, you see all these dinos. Once again, he feels like an outcast, says some interesting dialogue, and then you can see the main supporting cast, let's just say. Essentially, of course, being main characters from Goodbye Volcano High with Cavemanon's own twist on them. The only notable interactions that you get on the first day between these main characters. When Anon first arrives at Volcano High, he sees this particular group, especially the Blutero, the goth girl, the main character of Goodbye Volcano High, and she even spots him too, even giving him a disgusted look, which of course pisses off Anon, though both of them go on with their day. We will of course see them later on in the school day too, doing a special event. We also get to see Nazer and Naomi, students within the student council. I'm pretty sure they're also high-ranking members of the student council, so there's that. They're also characters of 𝐔𝐒𝐄𝐃. At first, they're the welcoming committee for Anon, so Nazer turns into a bro, while Anon and Naomi kind of drift apart. She also even plays a big part in the climax of the story, so yeah, it's gonna get spicy. As for our faculty, for this day we only get to meet Mr. Suki, the English teacher. Now, Anon of course did have other classes, but the only notable thing here is that he introduces himself and no one really cares. With the exception of Naomi, because, of course. And yes, they do share this class together. By the end of the class, we skip a few of Anon's other classes and we head straight to the lunch period. Sadly, Anon is a broke motherfucker. Though he did get some vegan pizza, so there's that. The main thing that really happens here is Naomi just getting ignored at best, cold-walled at worst. Nazer dropping the fact that his sibling, that's the key word here, sibling, is holding a concert, and that sibling's name is Fang. It's basically a free concert that Nazer's inviting Anon over to. Anon, of course, begrudgingly agrees to it, and the pizza is fucking cold. Though Nazer does give half of his sandwich to Anon, so that's pretty nice. Definitely the start of a broship. Skipping forward to after school, Anon meets up with Nazer, who is nearly done basically setting up the venue. They also get into a little talk about the history of him and his sister. In layman terms, it's pretty difficult. He says that his sister is a fine person if you meet him, though he is of course stepping around the English language with the pronoun thing, so kinda gives you a look into how said sister is like. You also get to meet the Principal Spears. They go through basic pleasantries, how Anon is liking the school, simple stuff. So what Anon he's truly here for is, of course, pizzas, free food. Eventually we do get to see Nazer take up a phone call, hear some shrill voices, and once the call ends, it's basically someone, more than likely the sister Fang, telling Nazer to get out of the venue. Big sad. Soon after, the performance starts. No introductions, no special light show or whatever, just a band already on stage, performing their piece, which right off the bat is absolute ass. God damn. They don't even finish it, the crowd just jeers the hell out of them. You can see some insults that are being said from the crowd on the screen too. Nice effect, pretty cool. The drummer looks like he wants to get out of there. The bassist wants to cry and shit. But Fang stands her ground. She is chimping the fuck out. And that just compels the crowd to cheer them on more. Circling back to Anon, of course, the show is fucking ended. It barely even started before it ended. Our boy did find it a bit humorous, but Mr. Spears isn't that too pleased about that. Gives us a stern talking to and leaves us with this quote. "You are not the only person in this world. Everyone is fighting their own battles. Absolute Shakespeare." That's his one and only warning. Anon fucks off while Mr. Spears chastises the crowd. And that's basically it for day one. The second day. The morning is a bit foggy, but we do see our very first choice. We can either go meet up with Nazer, see or tell him the sit rep of what happened yesterday, or we can go straight to the office where we can finish our paperwork and get our lunch card. It doesn't really matter what you pick now, though of course with these choices there is a point system that utilized. Like I said, it won't be used until around the 5th or 6th in-game day. Usually I pick the first option, mainly for the fact that we go to the principal's office later anyways. Going off to find Nazer, we actually spot him talking with a very agitated purple triceratops. Yeah, she's a very feisty one despite her size, though Nazer's handling her pretty well. It seems to be a convo about the concert last night. Funnily enough, when we finally actually get to meet Nazer, Naomi pops up, while at the same time, Principal Spears calls over Anonymous to his office. Nazer leads Anon the way, and we also get to see an interaction between Naomi and this red dinosaur, the dinosaur that was the drummer for the concert. Very interesting. Seems like he has some contraband that Naomi's going anal for, so Reed knows what he's doing. There's a little misdirection. Anyways, in the office, the paperwork is finalized. Mr. Spears tells Anon about the conditions of the lunch card, and we finally get it. God bless. And then we skip to lunchtime, where he finally gets to use said lunch card and tell Nazer about what the hell happened at the concert, which of course, he is not pleased. Of course, we then tell him that we also laughed along with them, and interestingly enough, Anon also catches Naomi making a certain face while trying to comfort Nazer. Basically, that's it for day 2. Now we skip 2 days after this, though I'm just gonna call this day 3. Same old routine for Anon. Wake up, do some rolls, shitpost, and go to school. At the entrance of the school, Naomi actually catches up to Anon, talk for a little bit, and eventually they both go to the school garden. Do a little bit more chatting, though it seems like Naomi's a bit down for some reason, and we get another choice. Pry into why she's a bit down, or we can just ignore it for now. In this footage, I chose to pry into it, as I usually do. Her main worry is that she believes that Nazer's a little too worried about his sister, essentially wishing that her boyfriend wasn't so stressed about his sister's situation, or just his sister in general. Nonetheless, Naomi states that she's about to be late, so she heads back to school. Anna does the same and goes to his own homeroom. Before that, he gets to actually see Fang, who looks like she's looking for someone or something. In fact, she's actually looking for her friends, though. Anna doesn't really know who they are, is a bit of a retard as usual, though eventually does say that he doesn't know where they are, and Fang leaves him alone. They don't meet up until 4th period, that being science class. Yes, they actually do share a class together. As of now, they haven't really been interacting inside class. However, as of this in-game day, they are doing a lab, so they are forced to partner up as no one else is available. Anon tries to make some small talk, but makes the grave mistake of using the wrong pronouns. The teacher, Dr. Fernsworth, backs up a little bit with some caution, as more than likely he has accidentally did this shit before too. While Fang is a bit peeved, a lot more than peeved, starts hounding him, going on some script that more than likely she did rehearse about her ists or isms, about her non-binaryism, about her non-binary spiel. Though after some time, the teacher cuts in, stops this whole dumbass fight, and Fang realizes that no one really cares in general. Poor Anon though. She is asked to go outside, given a stern talking to, and reconciliates with Anon. No further instance other than that. We get another option to apologize in 2 certain ways. First one being sorry that I accidentally called you a girl, and the second one, of course, taking the piss take about the non-binary shit. Though it doesn't matter what you pick, Fang just straight up disregards it. The two do end on a somewhat good note, I guess, after Anon says that it sucks that you went to a concert and you got made fun of from that. So there's that. Of course, leaving out the fact that he was there. And that ends that. 4th period is ended. On to 5th period, mathematics, where we get to be in class with the 2 other friends of this band, Reed and Trish. Near the end of the class, the trio meets up, gets to do some small talk, though Trish tells Anon that Fang is who she is with her non-binary shit. Don't fuck with her, don't piss her off, and that's it. Then they will be chill. An inkling of how Fang got to this conclusion. Reed is just Reed. He's pretty chill. More of a bro compared to Nazer though. Both of them are still chill in general. Also, the teacher for this class is Mr. Karl Dusky. I'm pretty sure from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. whatever that show was called. Also, Anon swapped backpacks accidentally with Reed, though this plot point gets fixed by lunch period, and where Reed, Trish, and Fang all meet up with Anon. Very nice. First meeting, not the best, though, since Anon did a good deed with Reed, he believes that Anon will be a good fit for this group in general. The others don't really believe this. For now, they accept it. Hell, there's even this funny moment later where Reed and Anon are talking about console war type shit and saying that PlayStation has some shit ass movie games, and shows us a link where you can either click and go to a certain trailer, or you can just check it out later. It's pretty funny. Of course, it's the Goodbye Volcano High reveal trailer. I'm pretty sure it's the trailer that was shown after they rewritten everything. Also, they learned the fact that Anon's poor with the lunch card. A little after that, we apparently dropped some musical knowledge that actually impresses them. Though, this meeting doesn't last until the end of the lunch period, as the gang leaves once Nazer and Naomi heading over to Anon, so what a shame. All there is to this particular interaction is that Anon briefing that altercation, one can say, with Fang, though they did get Chuddy Buddy near the end, and even, as they saw, got the whole group together. Both of them are glad. However, Naomi is a bit too jubilant. So she's not wrong in saying that Fang more than likely needs another friend that isn't Trish or Reed. It just feels a little forced, planned even. Nonetheless, that's it for this particular day. It just straight up goes to a week later.
And from here on out, Fang and Anon's relationship will grow more and more, of course. From friend to eventually partner. Boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You know what I mean, but yeah. So I think it's going to be a good time to talk about the pleasantries like controls and other stuff like that. So let's go do that.
It's not all that complicated, of course, since, it's a VN. To advance dialogue, you can either press the space button or click on your mousepad. The enter key works as well. If you do have a mouse, you can use the scrolling wheel to advance through text or backtrack to tasks. However, just know that you have a limit to how far back you can actually go. When you want to skip text, whether you're trying to redo a section or trying to skip through some text that you just find boring, you can either hold the control button. Just keep in mind that once you let go, that's when the text will stop. Or you can press tab. However, once you tap tab, it'll keep on scrolling unless you tap tab again. To go to the menu, you can press the right side of your mouse or mousepad. If you press S, you can take a screenshot. Pressing F will either take you to full screen mode or take you out of full screen mode. Then there's the H key, the beloved H key. If you have a picture that you want to take a look at, or an illustration that you really like, pressing H will hide the text box, everything on the screen except for the illustration in general. It's a damn good button. Apparently, you can also use the arrow keys to scroll back and forth through text, but I never really got that to work, so it's the mouse it is. Though what does work is the OST, man. It's just so beautiful. All the pieces here might not be bangers, though they do fit their tones and usage pretty well. For example, many such cases of being so true, a very tense piece of music, maybe even anxiety-inducing, mainly used in the game for situations where Anon or whatever character is in a stressful or urgent scenario. Good faith. Now this one can either play a good time or a bad time. I'll just say that, though it really does convey an overall somber feeling no matter what part of the game you're in. Monochromatic weirdo, that piece that you hear once you actually take a first look at Fang. All I can say is that it kind of describes the moment when you take a look at something that puzzles you and interests you at the same time and say to yourself that you, my friend, are one unique being. Skin Rose Soul. I mean, it kind of reminds me of LA Noire. Jazzy, to me a bit somber as well, but not that sad. It's a pretty chill piece of music. I'm pretty sure this usually plays when Anon is reflecting on certain actions. And that's just a handful of the pieces that are in the game. Of course, there's a lot more, a lot that I don't really have time to touch on, though if you do decide to listen to it individually, I'll leave a playlist in the description. It's worth it, honestly, if you do play the game. Whether to study to, chill out, hell, it's even in some of my playlists on SoundCloud. What I also do like are the interpretations of certain GVH characters overall. Yes, there are some OCs, and then, of course, there's fucking Carl Dusky. But even then, the sprite art, whatever liberties that they took, it just fits better than whatever Goodbye Volcano High did. Like Reed in GVH, he's a bit skinnier. I mean, I don't know why, but I couldn't make him a bit muscular. I don't know, maybe toxic masculinity. He is gay in that game. But yeah, in Snoot Game, Reed has more toned muscles. Fang is a little bit more femininely defined. Her snoot is a bit fixed too, not as long as Fang's snoot in the GVH trailers that we had at the time. Nazer just looks a bit more masculine, has more defined edges, one can say. And I believe he has orangeless tips on his fingers. I believe in GVH, his fingers have orange tips. Now, these characters we haven't seen yet, but there's Stella, who is much more slimmer than in the Goodbye Volcano High version. And I think even Rosa, which is another character that we'll be seeing later on. Rosa, you can tell that she's Latina, not as big as in Goodbye Volcano High, is, in my opinion. I mean, they both look similar. I mean, Stella, of course, is much more slimmer. Rosa, just a little bit compared to GVH. Hell, even someone like Mr. Karldewski. I mean, it probably fits in this game. Frickin' hell yeah, why not? It does have some fashion, I'll tell you that too. Even the original characters, even the OCs, the original characters, like Tracy, you'll see her here and there. She's a hot dog stand salesperson. Pretty nice, chill person, chill dino, good lass. Anon's parents. The dad, big, rotund, and mean boy, and Fang's mom, a small petite version of Fang. Very much a loving, doting mother, wife. Hell, even Trish, she's even more feminine looking than Goodbye Volcano High. Of course, big booba, small stature. I think it's literally all that is different is the big booba and the defined figure. Yeah, her face looks a bit womanly as well, so I'll give them that. All in all, whatever Cavemanon changed, I think went pretty well. I'll even extend that to the art of the backgrounds, like the different locations. It matches pretty well in all honesty. Like the school, pretty nice. The rooms within the school, Anon's apartment, the park, hell, even the ballroom, let's just say. It just fits the theme, or at least feels believable and filled in, like as if somebody lives there, you know, or is actually using it. The whole story, the narrative in general too. Cavemanon did absolutely spectacular with that, from the different scenarios that Anon, Fang, both them, or whatever other supporting character they're going on about. It's fun, it's nice, it's evenly paced. Deep even. You can see the relationship go from hostile to neutral, just an acquaintance, best friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe even more. You can even see them falter too if you are getting the worst endings. Those feelings don't really overstay their welcome, you know? It's not over-described, padded, nor is it barely described nor vague. It's just right. And especially when you get near the endings, when you get the best ending, it is so fucking worth it. But if you get anything less, you're just kicking yourself at what the hell you did wrong, where you went wrong, man. Truly does feel like a gut punch. Or if you do get the best ending, you did everything right. You feel so jubilant. It's so worth it. And yet there is still more. Once you've got your points, you got all those endings, you can check out the bonus chapters. There being 9 different chapters to choose from. You should be able to get all of them basically once you get all the endings. And there's no true order that you have to go through. It's either really funny or really insightful, and maybe even a bit insightful and sad, understanding even for a certain character. And yes, that is basically it for this game. However, of course, there is a big ass community behind this game as well as other Cavemanon games. It's mainly Snoot and 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐏. Yes, I know we're talking about Snoot Game, but in general, for both games, there's a fair amount of mods, especially for Snoot Game. I mean, it's been out for a long time, and they're still doing some mod jams for it, or even making mods in general without said mod jams. You can pick and choose, man. Oh, there's even a mod that lets you creatively pick whatever bonus chapter that you want to check out. I kind of like that. Though I think it's time we actually talk about major spoiler stuff.
Spoilers, of course, because we're going to be talking about very sensitive narrative information. That being the different points that you can get for each character, or both Fang and for Anon, as well as the endings, of which there are 4. So, if you don't really care about that, you can get on through. Don't have to worry about this timestamp or whatever. But if you do care, I'm gonna leave links down below. Check it out, download it, give me your thoughts or whatever. And yeah, of course, timestamp, of course. So let us go on. I'm gonna goon.
So the point system. Fang and Anon each have 5 points that they can get throughout the story. And yes, they do of course determine which ending that you get, and as I said, there are 4 endings. Ending 1 being Bowling for Volcano High, Ending 2, Anon and an Infinite Sadness, Ending 3, Volcano High School Musical, and Ending 4, Fast Times at Volcano High, which is the canon ending. Before I get to those endings, let us take a look at the points that we can possibly get during our gameplay. First choice for Fang, it's gonna take place at an auditorium during a band practice sesh. Trish is trying to manipulate Fang into staying the course with what they're doing with the band. And for the choice here, you gotta pick Speak Up. For the second Fang point, it's gonna take place in a music room when Anon is, of course, in class and doesn't know how to complete a certain assignment. For this choice, press heads, ask for Fang's help. Alright, so the third Fang point. This one intersects with Anon because both of them are going to be getting points from this certain scenario. So there's a certain point where Fang is gone off somewhere and you find her on the roof and she's essentially venting to Anon about her problems and stuff after Anon finds her preening herself. For this one, to get both points, you have to stay quiet and you have to stay quiet all throughout. I think this sequence repeats 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6. But it is multiple at the very least. Now, this must be said, if you fail this for some reason, you will be locked out of ending 4 no matter how many points you get after this. You'll just never get ending 4 if you fuck this up, so just be warned. Fourth Fang point. Fang, Anon, Nazer, Naomi, they're all going to be looking for a venue to play at for their next performance right after the disaster that was the school performance in the beginning of the game. Now this is going to be like the midway point when they're trying to find said venue, and Fang is a bit miffed at Naomi. And for this choice, you have to ask Fang what she want to do. This is kind of the point where Fang and Anon's relationship ascends from friends to girlfriend-boyfriend essentially. And for the final point for Fang, it's when Anon and Fang are in Fang's room together and they're studying and stuff, but Fang's not really interested, and thus she proposes that she wants to play guitar. And of course the choice here is to play guitar. It's between either studying or playing guitar. I mean, it's the obvious choice, man. On to Anon's side. For Anon's first point, it takes place during detention where Anon and Fang are of course serving it by tending to the school garden with Rosa and Stella. Now during this, Fang actually learns that Anon was at that concert and even laughed at her. So for this choice, Anon has to explain to her honestly that he was there and she should understand by now. For Anon's second point, this is basically when both of them are on the rooftop, Fang explained her problem, Anon listening, and thus you should already know what to do. For the third point though, this is also when Fang, Nazer, Naomi, Anon are looking for that venue to play at next. This one takes place a little bit before Fang's important choice at this time. This is like during a bathroom break, and basically the choice here, you gotta wait for Fang. Pretty simple. Fourth choice. This one takes place when the crew actually found their venue, when they're setting up for an event at that venue. Anon's trying to help out, but he trips over some wires, and he's pondering if he wants to fix them or not. Of course, he's no technician, he has no experience with this type of shit, so of course the obvious thing to do is to leave the stage as is. Now for the final point, there's gonna be a devastating event that will happen to Anon near the climax of the story. I mean, it's hella fucked up, but essentially once Trish reveals Anon's power level as well as his history back in rock bottom, some discourse happens, some falling outs happen, but once this situation is sorted out, the choice for you to make, though it might not be what you want to do, is to wait for Trish. You gotta turn the other cheek, man. Now for the endings. I want to note that these usually center around prom night. You can see the differences between Anon and Fang's behavior with each other, other characters. Hell, mainly with Fang, you can see different dresses that she brings out for each ending. So for ending 1, the dress that she wears is some gender neutral type tuxedo and pants. Though she does modify it, also her behavior is kind of ass. There's also a band performance at the prom, which does not go very well. The story repeats itself. And this nearly pushes Fang to the breaking point. What a fucking shit show. Nonetheless, Anon and Fang retreat back to Anon's apartment just to chill out, recover from this traumatic event. Though Anon slips up and tells her about Naomi's plan to fix her essentially. And this truly sends Fang over the goddamn cliff. She chimps the fuck out, breaks shit, argues with Anon, tells him that it's his fault that this happened, took her away from her friends, her band. Though Anon of course counters, defends himself. They do eventually sleep together, but the upcoming days they don't really talk. Except for one day in particular in which Fang actually stops by Anon's apartment and they go to Bone Town, telling him that everything's fine. Oh, this seems like a distraction. The next day, early next day, Fang wakes up and gets dressed really early. Anon does notice this, but goes back to sleep once He notices that the bathroom door is open, and he wakes up later only to see that the bed's empty. It's just him there. He does also see text by Fang that looks like a suicide note. Control over my life you denied, and now death approaches from the sky. Why to be me you had to vilify? Goodbye, Volcano High. Of course, this sets off a lot of alarm bells within Anon, so he gets dressed, heads over to school, and sees that there is a lot of people and police surrounding the school. And once he arrives, he is spotted by Trish, where he blames him for everything that's happened, though we don't know what the hell has happened. One can assume though. Once she's done with her rambling and is just bawling her eyes out, Anon sneaks through and actually somehow goes into school using a secret entrance. Yeah, good job police, that perimeter wasn't fucking secure at all. Feels like Uvalde again. Nonetheless, he goes in and sees an absolute massacre. Many dead students lining the halls, the rooms. Shit, he even sees Naomi and Nazer dead bodies. Nazer is barely clinging on to life and is urging Anon to help him, though he's on his last legs. He finally dies once Anon leaves. To the rooftop we go, we find Fang holding a revolver. Interesting choice of firearms, though still a tragic incident. We also see that there's a hole in the suicide fence. Anon tries to get Fang to back off, though once she approaches her, he gets shot instinctively by Fang. Of course, he even still tries to go further, only to break his own leg. And while all that is happening, with each step or crawl forward, she steps back further or closer and closer to the edge. Our boy convinces her to come back to him to stop this madness, though she's determined to end it all, giving him one last glance, a faint smile with makeup raining down her eyes, and then she takes the plunge. Anon tried his best but couldn't save her. Doesn't want to look at the penultimate conclusion of his girlfriend's massacre, and is ultimately saved by authorities just at the last second. And then finally we get to see him at a funeral, though at the distance, as more than likely he wasn't invited or he just doesn't want to show his face. He waits for everyone to leave, notably waiting for Aaron, the dad, to leave, as he's the one that stays the longest. I mean, I get it. Your son, your daughter, all dead, and heartbreaking to think that one was a victim and one was the perpetrator of the tragic event. Bless his heart. Once he leaves, Anon finally approaches the tombstones, pays his respects, monologues, and that's it. That is the end of ending 1. You don't even get credits for this one. That's how badly you fucked up. Now ending 2. Not that much of a doomer story, but it is still pretty sad. For this one, they decide to skip prom, go to a beach and just chill out there. The Chud couple takes him some drinks, chat a little bit, though maybe there's one too many drinks for Anon, as he gets a little bit too truthful about what he feels about Fang and her gender situation. Eventually, it turns into an argument, they break up, Fang leaves him on the ground and shit, and homegirl leaves in tears. Of course, after this incident, Anon just decides to flunk out and goes to the Navy as a packed seaman. Though according to him, it's not the best thing that he did. Only good thing to come out of it is after 4 years, he got his monthly check. So there's that. Dead his time, fucked right off, back to Volcadera we go, and on this particular day, he decides to go to a pizza shop, or said pizza, and he actually spots this band with a newly radically changed Fang playing guitar. Shaved head, black lipstick, a little bit more emaciated, one can say. She does look a little bit more soulless too, has more tattoos as well, and yeah, she just isn't shining that bright as she was back in high school. I mean, I guess that's what happens if you're in a dead-end job or something. Once Anon gets his pizzas, he's just sitting there hoping that his former girlfriend actually recognizes him, though Fang does. Take a glance around the crowd. She doesn't really recognize him and just continues on playing. Anon did have some little hopes that if he did get recognized, they can rekindle whatever they had left. Though, of course, that didn't happen. So he took his pizzas, fucks off back to his apartment, and lives his stupid Chud life. And that's the ending for ending 2. At least this time, you get some credit, so there you go. You didn't fuck up that bad. Ending 3. This one's a bit bittersweet. It's definitely not as bad as the first 2 ones, but it could be so much better. In this ending, she kind of cuts herself off from Trish's sites or whatever. She still somewhat hangs out around Reed, Stella, Rosa, Anon of course, though mainly she depends on her boyfriend, so there you go. Once prom comes around, she does have a modest dress. Nice, white, clean. I mean, it's something. It's a dress, pretty standard. Though at the prom, apparently there's supposed to be a performance with her band, including herself. She doesn't know why she's in there. It's revealed that Trish wants to reunite the band. However, she doesn't want to do this because, you know, she hasn't prepared for this, and she still has hasn't forgiven Trish about what the hell happened with exposing Anon and stuff. So on that night, she truly cuts her off from her life, runs out. Anon is a bit pissed himself, and the performance is cancelled. Getting out of the prom area, they decide to take a little walk, get some hot dogs, go back to Fang's house. She changes to her regular clothes, has some special paint on her, and then that's when they have their special dance, just to themselves. Days after that, it is revealed that Fang dropped her fake name, her non-binary name, and has adopted Lucy, but not fully. Anon has also signed up for the military. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what branch. I want to say it's army because hoorah, though nonetheless he's military. And he's gonna be going to boot camp very soon. You also see Fang be a little bit more clingy towards Anon. And once he departs for boot camp, yeah, she's teary-eyed. She's bawling. Though they both have made a promise to meet each other again once Anon is done with his military service. Flash forward a lot, let's just say 4 years, because, you know, once you've done your 4 years, you can leave if you want. At least, that's what's supposed to happen. Anon arrives back at Volcadera. God bless. Sees some new buildings and decides to go to the park. He sees that there's a fair going on or some children's event and sees that Fang is actually taking care of them. They actually meet up and she even gets the day off to spend time with Anon so they can recoup their relationship, you know? Of course, there is a big drastic change. She essentially becomes a housewife type, though the downside is that she hasn't really been connecting with any of her friends, nor has she really made that many new friends, at least from what we've been told from her. Her dress sense is a bit different. She doesn't have that much musical talent anymore, as she hasn't really been working on that. Still, she is heavily dependent on Anon, though she does at least talk to family, so silver lining there. And they do hang out for the rest of the day, and it ends basically at nighttime. I'm guessing to them truly rekindling their friendship or relationship. And at least we also do see, after the credits I believe, a photo of Fang and Anon after their marriage, in which at least she is very happy. Very, very nice. Still, like I said, bittersweet, but ending 4, the best ending of all and the canon ending. Fang has a spectacular purple dress, very epic. And we also get to confront Naomi as well at the house about her silly little Darth Sidious plan, Darth Platypus plan. And she gets rewarded. At the prom, there is a band performance, hell yeah, and it goes super well. And then a few days after that, they decide to have a big campfire meetup, kind of akin to like the campfire thing in the Goodbye Volcano High trailer, except with a lot more people. Basically as a big reunion before they all go their separate ways for higher education or something else. I believe Fang does go to college, as well as Anon. He does not go to the military for this ending. The only route that he doesn't do that. Fast forward a few years, Anna's back in Volcadera for a high school reunion for, of course, this particular class. And we get to meet up with Rosa, Reed, Naomi, Trish, and Fang. I have no idea where Nazir is. I don't believe Stella's even there. But yeah, it's one grand jolly time. Fang and Anon do eventually rekindle the relationship as well. Pretty nice epic ending, and if you go back to the final bonus chapter, if I'm correct, you actually get to see the progress of Fang and Anon's relationship and eventually see that they do not only get together and have a family, you get to see their newborn child. And after you complete that particular chapter, the menu screen changes to that particular picture. And then you get rewarded with a lovely photo, which I wish this was used for the menu picture as well, but it sadly isn't. Overall, just seeing all these endings, it just shows you how much you changed, how much you've grown, or how little you've actually done that. It makes me reflect somewhat on what Mr. Spears said at the beginning of the game. You're not the only one in this world. Everyone's fighting their own battles. And hell, it might not be the deepest thing, but I can resonate with that.
There you go. Very colorful endings overall. And yeah, I do in general like what the hell Cavemanon did for this whole game, this whole parody. It's crazy too, is that this is much better than whatever Team Co-op or Team Cope has ever even managed to conjure up with called Goodbye Volcano High. And yeah, I might as well get into the drama or whatever. I do remember that they did buy an article, I think on Kotaku, basically shitting on the game and saying not to play it. This is made by homophobics. People like that, the bad people, racist, the isms, so therefore big bad. You shouldn't play this. And I also remember the fact that I think around I think 2022, I think Snoot Game already released, but I know for a fact that this or Goodbye Volcano High did get remade because the writer for GVH did make some questionable content. I think the one that came up was specifically about Harry Potter characters. It's like some smut stuff on some fan fiction forum, I believe. And yeah, once that got leaked, she got fired and they had to do the whole plot all over again. So that is very funny.
Also, I want to drop the fact that there is a fan remake being made called Snoot Game Encore. So essentially, stories being reworked. I think they're going to add Sage to the game, new segments too. I know they're definitely touching up the sprites as well. I mean, look at the art. It's magnificent. And even putting in new music, which, you know what? So far, I'm liking it. So if you're interested, I'm going to drop some links below that's connected to that project. And yeah, hopefully you'll check it out. And hopefully it'll actually come out.
I'll leave download links in the description below. And yeah, Cavemanon also produced 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐏 around, I think 2024 is when they released it. So I believe once Snoot Game got released in 2021, they did their own thing, made their planning for 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐏 as well as touching up Snoot Game. And then yeah, 2024 arrived, and now we have 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐏. So I don't know when I'm gonna be touching that. Maybe sometime soon, who knows? Though I do like that game as well. So that being said, I'm gonna end it off here for sure. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like if you loved this episode or video. And I shall see you, whatever video you watch next on this channel or my other channel, next time. So peace out for real. Y'all have a good one.